Zepbound and fertility. Can weight loss drugs boost your chances of conception with an Ozempic baby? I'm going to come in up next. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've personally been on GLP-1 medication, Zepbound, Mounjaro, and Tirzepatide compound GLP-1 plus GIP for the last 2 years and 9 months. It's crazy. It's almost 2 years and 10 months, which is bonker doodles, losing over 112 pounds. And my whole mission is to help encourage and inspire folks who are on GLP-1 medication to live their best lives and live as healthy as they can. I am not medical at all, so none of this is medical advice. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. Today's video particularly, we are talking about a very sensitive topic about fertility. Make sure you share this with your besties if you have somebody who is trying to conceive. With thought, grace, love, kindness, and compassion, this video is made to help you talk with your healthcare provider because I am not that. But in my free encouragement group, which I will link down below, as is the scientific resources I'm going to be citing, so you can double check. In fact, in the age of scientific information, I absolutely require and demand that I am being factually accurate. So I will make sure I cite those sources as we go through. But in my group, countessofshopping.com/group, this has been a hot topic. Several people within the group and here on YouTube have been asking me, Elizabeth, please do a video talking about the correlation of taking GLP-1 medication, not just Zepbound. I speak on Zepbound and Mounjaro because that's what I have taken and that's my experience, strength, and hope. But I'm lumping in together our Ozempic friends, WEGOVY friends, SEMAGLUTIDE friends, into this conversation about trying to conceive, infertility, fertility after taking GLP-1 medication. And so I've got some facts for you. I've got some figures for you. Ignore my face. I had a laser procedure done, and so my face is still healing from that. So if you see a little skin falling, don't worry. It's just a little ho, ho, ho holiday cheer. Let's dive in. Okay, so the first fact of the matter is, and I'm pulling up my sources here, the first fact of the matter is it's two-part. For men taking GLP-1 medication for their fertility, and then for women, and going over to scientific studies talking specifically about weight loss. There's a National Institutes of Health study that I'm going to reference in this video as well. But first, the main thing is there's several ways that GLP-1 medication can help people who are trying to have a baby, is improved ovulation and PCOS. We know that there's a correlation. There's so many people taking GLP-1 medication who have PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. I've done a whole other video on it. It didn't get that many views on it, but it is in my playlist down below, deep diving into PCOS. And so that can be a problem and a challenge for people who it can lead to infertility or challenges conceiving. And so with that, PCOS is the leading cause of infertility and strongly linked with insulin resistancy and obesity. And by promoting GLP-1s, there's period changes with that, on hormone changes, specifically with menstrual cycles and restoring ovulation, which is a critical step for conception. For me, I can speak on my own experience, strength, and hope, and many people in my group have said this too. And I have another video here. I've got hundreds, almost 1,000 videos on Zepbound and Mounjaro and GLP-1 medication. I talked about how significantly my period changed. And when I first started, and then now that I've moved into this perimenopause camp too, my periods have also again started to change. And so with that, knowing that there's this hormonal shift that's happening, I definitely saw it in my own body, but definitely that by promoting weight loss and improving insulin sensitivity, it's gonna help regulate menstrual cycles and restore ovulation. We know that. In addition, number 2, and we're going to go through all these different ways of how it can help with fertility. That I know this is such a sensitive topic for people and I've seen it firsthand, of a friend who could not get pregnant for years and years and years. And she tried everything she could. She ended up taking at the very beginning, even ahead of me. She was one of the inspirations for me with this medication. She ended up taking GLP-1 medication and had a baby. And now she has a baby. I think the baby's like 6 or 7 months old, and it's been fascinating watching her journey with IVF. So some of these are going to be in conjunction with having IVF with it too, but hormonal balance is number 2. It helps with excessive male hormones often seen in women with PCOS. It's going to help, the data is showing that it helps to reduce that. which further supports the return of ovulatory function. Next, and I probably mispronounced that, but going through some of these facts, I find it fascinating. In my own body, it's been wild to see my period changes. Many of you in my free encouragement group have talked about how you're like, I was in menopause and randomly I got my period. When they after several months of being on GLP-1 medication, I'm like, it's fascinating to see our hormones shift as a result of the weight loss, but also in regards to insulin sensitivity too. Case study and anecdotal evidence is there's a growing body of anecdotal reports and case studies referred to as, quote, Ozempic babies of women who struggled with infertility for years and then became pregnant taking GLP-1 medications. This is likely due to the indirect effect of weight loss with improved metabolic health. So I'm going to bounce over to male fertility here in a minute, but I want to loop back over to reports about what a big difference weight loss in general, not just GLP-1 weight loss, but weight loss in general can make with fertility. I didn't know all these facts, but it kind of blew my mind talking about I don't want to talk about men yet. I won't talk about men just yet, but there was a comprehensive systematic review. It was by the University of Oxford, and they found women with obesity who participated in weight loss programs before starting IVF were 47% more likely to conceive naturally with minimal or no weight loss support. The study found that weight loss interventions increased the odds of any pregnancy, naturally or with IVF, by 21%. 21%. That was University of Oxford in 2025, a study that they found. So let's rewind that. Even IVF, no IVF, increased weight loss intervention, increased odds of pregnancy by 21%. I hope that right there, just right there, that helps if you're not doing IVF and you want a baby, that helps you knowing that, okay, 21% with weight loss intervention, that is helpful on there. Those who, Oxford found women with obesity who participated in the weight loss programs before starting IVF, it was 47% more likely to conceive naturally than those with minimal or no weight loss support. So 47% more likely to conceive when they had weight loss programs. So with GLP-1 medication, it is, if you're in that camp, would be recommended then to seek wise counsel, honey. I always talk about our Avengers team. Avengers assemble. I hope I'm on your Avengers team. But having these key players in seats, we need to have booties in seats for some of these key players. And for me, one of the booties in the seats that I've recently sought out for my wise counsel is a dietitian. As someone who has their master's degree in nutrition. It's science-based. It's not, nutritionists can get there, no disrespect to nutritionists, but you can get a certificate. I could get a certificate to be a nutritionist on the internet without having a ton of training with it, which is why I seek the wise counsel of a dietitian. Again, no shade, but that's where I'm science-based. That's why I like that. So going back over, if you are looking for that, can you within your health insurance get a dietitian as part of coverage? I know I can. And there's other ones, like I'm with Join Fridays, for example, that are included in that. One of the best things I have done for myself is and I've talked a lot about this, is taking BIOptimizers magnesium. Now, obviously, we want to be very mindful when you do get pregnant of what you're taking. Never take any supplements without talking to your healthcare provider. But there's more than two that I take, but two that I want to talk about today that have been super helpful for my personal weight loss journey that I took over 2 years ago. Like day in every day for the last 2+ years, basically, is BIOptimizers Magnesium Breakthrough. It has 7 types of magnesium, not one. It blows my mind that people take magnesium with just one type of magnesium. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like this has magnesium chelate and magnesium, I forget all of them, malate and taurate and citrate. And so if you're constipated, helpful on that. Muscle recovery, helpful on that. Sleep issues, because if you're having, like I did, hormonal issues, that jacked up my sleep. This was what helped me. And I stopped taking actually melatonin and switched over to this. The other thing I've talked about, masszymes, they're digestive enzymes, but it dawned on me that I haven't really talked about their probiotic breakthrough. If you are looking for a probiotic, it does not have to be refrigerated. Their probiotic breakthrough is exceptional. Highly recommend. Now, I take their digestive enzymes on there for my tummy stuff. But their probiotic breakthrough is exceptional, amazing. Many of you also take it. You can use the discount code QUEEN. Go to the link in the description, bioptimizers.com/queen, QUEEN. They are, in my humble opinion, the best on the market because they do so many quality control checks. It's thousands actually, going back to their data, science-based, like it is in line with what I believe in terms of science and data, and having the best scientists helping with these products, and that they've been around for so long and been one of the #1 bestsellers for so many years. So I'll link that down below. That's been one of the best things on my weight loss journey. When people ask me what supplements I take, the first camp I always talk about is BIOptimizers. So use that discount code QUEEN. So talking about the second study in terms of published studies showing that moving from overweight to a normal BMI. So I came from the camp of morbid obesity. I wasn't just overweight. I wasn't just obese. I was morbidly obese. And it was so exciting to me when I moved from morbidly obese to obese. I'm like, I'm just obese. Yes. And now not only am I just like I'm lifting, I am riding horses. I couldn't get on a horse before because I literally would have crushed it and hurt its back. And so now I get to ride this cool little thing. Her name's Maggie. She's a Clydesdale and she's amazing because of my weight loss. So the review published, 33 published studies show that moving from overweight to a normal BMI reduced miscarriage rates by 13% and increased chances of live births for 10% for women undergoing IVF by Moran, LJ, ET, AL. 2011 is the source on that. So talking about once conception is there, that is another point too about being in a healthy weight range of how much it really can contribute. And I know for me, being morbidly obese, and being overweight as a mom, I already felt substantial guilt, shame, condemnation, substantial. And so then impacting it on there, if coming from the lens of this has not been my experience, strength and hope, but I can think about and have compassion, love, grace, kindness, and compassion, I already felt like so much guilt, shame, condemnation. I just felt not good about myself. But then coupling on top of that, hearing some of these statistics of how being overweight can prevent fertility, I don't want someone to feel badly about that because part of this is hormonal, PCOS, and we know now there's so much data about how being overweight is genetics. There's a huge genetic play into this, huge, huge, huge. And as we go through, it's going to be fascinating over upcoming years. For example, Eli Lilly just bought, I did just a story on it recently about genetic, what's the word? Genetic, I was going to say manipulation, but that's not the right word at all. It's genetic, where you're helping your genes, your gene pool. And so I'm fascinated, 20 years from now, will they be able to change the genes on that essentially to like, we'll know so much more about our genetics in terms of being overweight with that. And even in particularly in families, for me, for example, I've been on my first diet since elementary school. My sister, for example, same parents, always very lean, athletic. That was never my build, really. I mean, pockets of it because I played sports, but not really. So let me go over to the next one. There was another study, this is fascinating. Research published in Human Reproduction found that women with PCOS and obesity, a 10% weight loss, I hope this gives you encouragement, a 10% weight loss was estimated to increase the chance of pregnancy by 68% for those with a baseline BMI of 40 kgm2. This highlights a significant impact on even just a modest weight loss on ovulation and conception rates. Next study. By the way, that was Dokras AET-AL 2023. Again, I'll cite that down below. A systematic review in the Journal of Human Reproduction Update found that reduced calorie diets and exercise interventions, which by the way, most of us, didn't we do that by the way? Eat less calories, move more. We did that, honey. That was the 90s for me, okay? But reducing calories, I can do that now. I can do that now, and I can safely do that now by being on GLP-1 medication because of medical intervention. But using reduced calorie diets and exercise were more likely than controlled interventions to result in pregnancy. The interventions resulted in weight loss and improved ovulations were reported. So one of the things we need to talk about too, is one, when you increase dose, when you're increasing your dose, it tells us in the literature from Eli Lilly with Zepbound Fertility, and if you're taking any sort of GLP-1 plus GIP, that's Tirzepatide compound, or if you're on WEGOVY, it's just GLP-1 or Ozempic. It tells us in the literature when we increase a dose, we need to use an alternate form of birth control during there. We do. And so being super mindful of that, like an alternate form, besides just the pill. Sorry, that was misinformation. So strike that. If you're taking birth control pills, then an alternate one with that when you're increasing your dose. You need to be mindful of that for the first month, of that increased dose on that, okay? Going back to about Ozempic babies. Okay, so having that. It's also discussing with your healthcare provider. Again, this whole video I said at the very beginning, my intention is for you to have information to talk to your healthcare provider about, because I'm not medical at all, and I don't pretend to be either. So to have that conversation with the healthcare provider, but the studies tell us blatantly we should not be on GLP-1 medications when we're pregnant. So if you are trying to get pregnant, that needs to be a conversation with your healthcare provider of when you're stopping this medication. Super important to note the data behind when we stop GLP-1 medication. The studies tell us that 70% of people gain the weight back. For me, again, I've not been in this position, and I always like to speak on a stance of experience, strength, and hope. So since I don't have experience, strength, and hope, but I do have sympathy related to this area, I can't say empathy because I haven't been through it, but sympathy in this area. I know, okay, if I have 70% chance of gaining this weight back, I'm trying to get pregnant. If I was in that position, I'm not. The store is closed, honey. My hot husband and I, the store is closed. So with that, I would make sure I had safety nets in place. If 70% of people gain the weight back, what are going to be my safety nets while I'm trying to go through to get to be pregnant? Because we do have to come off GLP-1 medication when we're trying to get pregnant. Is because of the data of we don't know what happens when you take this medication while you're pregnant. we don't have that data yet. I don't know if that data will come out, but right now it's just, yeah. So with that, knowing that 70% gain it back, what are the safety nets in place would be the question I'd ask myself, and what I would ask you if you were in that position. I for sure would have weekly visits with a dietitian. For me, this is me, of what I would specifically do. For sure would have some sort of food plan outlined, whether it's super stringent or not, depending on your personality style. I really do believe now, after thousands and thousands and thousands of people I've got the privilege of encouraging, you got to figure out what's best for you in terms of that, as long as there's a safety net. If you find that you're night snacking, that binge eating or food noise comes back, what systems do you have in place? Does that mean also having a therapist on the roster too? Because food noise and food chatter, and you're gonna need to have some other coping skills. And for me, having a trained therapist with a doctor in front of their name with a PhD has been very beneficial. Is that part of the plan too? And then also some sort of activity exercise, because Eli Lilly does tell us in the literature we do need to change two things about ourselves: our diet, like our food stuff, and then also physical exercise. For me, if I were to try to get pregnant all over again, which I'm not, but if I could go back and tell my younger self in my 20s, get really good at lifting, weight training and that muscle mass is so important. Whether we're on GLP-1 medication or not, it matters so much. And so I wish I had started that habit in my 20s. I did not. I ended up gaining 100+ pounds before my wedding or like during my wedding and then after my wedding. I did like the opposite of it. Not only did I not lift, I gained a ton of weight. But if I could go back and tell myself, figure out some sort of lifting, that is going to be beneficial for you if you're trying to get pregnant regardless. So having some sort of lifting in place, for me, I could not focus in on lifting the first year of taking GLP-1 medication. I could walk. I walked my dogs a ton. That was my physical exercise. And simply doing that was the best I could do. And so I've been learning my food choices of when to put my fork down when I felt full. What do I do when I'm hungry? Like just simple things like that. But honey, I wasn't simple. It's taken me a lot. Like I'm a turtle through and through. I always talk about my turtles, fellow turtles unite. I've been much slower than most people on this journey, but that's also okay because I've made permanent lifestyle changes with that. And so with that, my beautiful friends, I really want to encourage you having these safety nets in place, knowing 70% of people gain the weight back. Be the exception in the 30% of what can you do and have set up structured for you to run through this. It takes the half-life dose for, do I have mine? No, I do. I was going to say the definition of half-life, because people always ask. A drug is the time it takes for the amount of drug's active substance in our body to reduce by half. So that's typically within a week, 5 days. For Zepbound and Mounjaro and Tirzepatide compound GLP-1 plus GIP is 5 days, half-life dose. but when it is in our body after taking it for a period of time, it's actually 30 days. Or it's like, what is it, 26 or 25 days to 30 days. I like to err on being conservative and say 30 days, like take the highest part of that. So it's gonna be in our system for 30 days. And then it's out. So then you're free falling after that. So keeping that in mind, I could not lose this weight. I had tried everything, and it was only but GLP-1 medication that could help me. And so knowing that, I think is important. That's why having a good doctor and healthcare provider guiding you along this journey. We had one of our beautiful group members was talking about how she got pregnant, and I've had the privilege of like hearing her story of when she was losing the weight, and then when she stopped taking the medication, because she's still been in the group, stopped taking the medication, and then ended up getting pregnant, and it's so exciting. But also in here, it talks about pregnancy loss. And many of you know about my daughter. My daughter passed my pregnancy with her. We ended up going to Johns Hopkins to try to save her. And it was awful. It was awful. And so this is why my heart goes out to people. If I haven't had the infertility issue, but I had the issue of having a baby that's passed, and it was awful. Like, it was awful. So in sharing all this, I want to give you hope, encouragement of this is not an easy road with infertility. And my heart breaks for moms who want to be moms and are not able to. Or secondary infertility. That's a new big thing that a lot of people have too. They've had one baby, but it's years in between being able to have the next baby. And they want it. One of my best friends, actually, she had a beautiful baby girl, actually, a couple weeks ago. And so, but she went years for it, really wanted a baby and was not able to, and now does. And so I want to give you hope and encouragement that all of this is not for nothing, right? Like, keep going, keep trying, keep turning over the stones, and easier said than done. But truly, the data is very exciting of that this may be an outlet for people to be able to help in conjunction with IVF, or not with IVF, but with the weight loss component of it. It's very exciting. And having this data of with GLP-1 medication and then just weight loss without GLP-1 medication in general. But I know I couldn't lose weight without GLP-1. So that data of just have reduced, eat less, move more. Like, honey, that was like the 90s, the early 2000s, 2010s, early 2020s. Like, that was I tried that. Then they're done that, got the t-shirt. It did not work for me. So having to have medical intervention with GLP-1 for me was important. But knowing, and then this is the other thing too about getting pregnant on the medication, the pregnancy. So it's like different phases. Getting pregnant, pregnancy, and then if you do breastfeeding with it too. I don't think you're supposed to. I didn't confirm, but I'm like 99% positive you should not be on this medication while you're breastfeeding either. So keeping that in mind, that is a long stretch to be off GLP-1 medication. Keeping that in mind. So, which is why making these permanent lifestyle changes of changing our eating habits and working out, and at least having the muscle memory of doing that, right? Because me learning those things of, oh, that's what it felt like. That even if I were to go off the medication, at least I knew what it felt like to be able to try to continue to do that. Now, I can't do weight loss without medical intervention. That's me. But for other people have been able to keep the weight off without having GLP-1 medication. Again, it's 30% of the population. And so having safety nets in place for you, what are those going to be? And that would be my question for you to take to your doctor. Write that down, put it, type in your notes in your phone. What would be those safety nets once you get off the medication? So y'all, I'm excited for you. If you're on this journey, it's an exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be a mom. I didn't talk about men. Oh, that was the other thing. So let me go back. It talks a lot about, I don't think I'm allowed to say, am I allowed to say SPERM? You watch Golden Girls where, nobody watch Golden Girls, or is it just me? It's my favorite show. Where Blanche is like, bang. She went to a bang. Anyways, that's all I think of when I say that word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on air. I don't want to get in trouble with, sometimes YouTube can be very wonky, so I'm not going to say the word, but know that I have no problem in my real life saying that word. But there was an Oxford study, no, I already talked about that. So male fertility by Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that overweight men were 11% more likely to have a low blank count and 39% more likely to have no in their goods compared to their normal weight peers. For obese men, these numbers were even higher, 42% and 81% respectively. And I'll cite that source down below. Research at University of Copenhagen demonstrated that an average weight loss of 36 pounds could lead to a 50% increase in concentration. The study also highlight a 40% increase. Wow. Holy moly. The study also highlighted the importance of sustained weight loss for those that regain weight, saw these improvements dissipate. So weight loss, even a modest amount of just 5 to 10% of body weight, can lead to significant improvements in hormonal balance for women, ovulation regularity for men, blank quality and quantity, natural conception rates, and success rates for assisted reproductive technologies like IVF. So things we can change, things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference is my prayer for you of like, what can you do? What can you not do? And figuring those two things out. I love you guys so super much. Our emoji of the day today is going to be a little fishy. All the little fishies in the deep blue sea. Joy to you and me. I do emojis of the day to get to know you better because I care. And it's my way of seeing your name over and over and over again. And it's a quick, easy way. It's also my bat signal to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, honey, I will uplift you in positive thoughts because all are welcome at the Countess of Shopping table. We are an inclusive group. In a world where it's very divisive right now, this is an inclusive space. As long as you're nice. We just have to get that caveat. Make sure you run and skedoodle over to the description link below for all the sources that I cited, but also go to BIOptimizers.com/queen. Check out their magnesium breakthrough, my absolute favorite product. You can see all the reviews, not just mine. There's thousands of people who are like, this product's amazing. And so many people in the free encouragement group agree with me, and here on YouTube too. And then the probiotic breakthrough is also an awesome addition to, if you're looking for a probiotic that is also the added bonuses, it's not refrigerated. I take their Masszymes as well. But if you guys have asked me, by the way, side note about their berberine, I don't take that. We are not supposed to take berberine while we're on GLP-1 medications because it can lead to, per my healthcare provider, it can lead to too low of blood sugar drops. So if I were to get off GLP-1 medication, I would take that though. Okay. And if you haven't joined the free group, that's also listed down below, countessofshopping.com/group. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I will see you. Oh, I'll be on HSN tomorrow, Friday. Friday, what day is that? September 26th? Yeah. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a 15-minute segment. And then we have our PA meet and greet. I am so excited to see our Pennsylvania friends. After that, if you're going to that meet and greet, I will be there. I will be coming straight from the TV studio and I cannot wait. I'm like so looking forward to it. So all the deets were in the free encouragement. If you're like, how did I find out about that? It was in the free encouragement group and in my email. If you're not on my email list, the email's coming out today, Thursday. They come out on Mondays and Thursdays too for your weekly encouragement email as well. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.